Ooh-wee. Some of y'all not gonna like what I gotta say, but let's get to it. So, let's talk about Marathon. I tried Marathon in the server rush on PC. I'm not a good mouse and keyboard first-person shooter player, so I would not say the game is bad from my experience when I played that. I, however, have not tried to play it on console yet because an extraction shooter is not my forte. I like arena shooters. I also don't like the concepts of roguelikes being put into a first-person shooter, whether it's an arena shooter or not. And that is what an extraction shooter like Marathon is. If that's your bag, I'm glad for you. If that's the type of game you like to play, I'm glad for you. But that's not for me. That being said, I did not want Marathon to fail. And at this point, it has not. But it looks like it's going to. I wanted Marathon to be a raging fucking success. Because I am a Destiny player. Destiny 1, Destiny 2. I felt that the only way to get through the issues we have with Destiny 2, sunsetting, the fact that half the game has been vaulted, the Red War's not even in the fucking game anymore. The campaign that launched Destiny fucking 2 isn't in the game anymore. What kind of shit is that? But my thing is, if Marathon was a success and made them some money, then we could get Destiny 3, where you wouldn't have to sunset content. You'd be able to put development into keeping armor and weapons up on a level that they could be used regardless of when you start playing the game. And you wouldn't lose content, period. Of any kind. I don't care about seasonal resets. As long as I can still use guns from whenever, I'm fine. But here's the thing. Destiny PvP players have been saying for a very, 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 very long time two things. Fix the fucking cheating problem. And two, make it so that low-skill PvP players or people who just want to kind of dabble their toe in PvP, not a sweat, not a tryhard, not a streamer, will have something to entice them to want to keep around and play, even if they're losing. Bungie has not done that. Then they take development time, personnel, and people and commit it to a game based solely around PvP. Yeah, there's PvE shit in Marathon, but who gives a fuck? It's the core premise of that game is the PvP parts. That's the thrill. That adds that level of excitement to it. And they haven't fixed those two complaints, the cheating and the enticement. Listen, I know every game's gonna have sweats, it's gonna have whales if you can buy things. But you still need low-skill players to feed into that system so that those high-tier players have something to feed off of. Because they do not want to sweat it out every fucking match. They want to feel like they're grinding. They want to feel like the weapons and things that they have gotten and min-max for allow them to dominate, at least some of the time. But when there's no low-skill players to feed into that system, eventually it just filters out and comes down to cheaters and sweats. Simple as that. And cheaters will generally 9 times out of 10 beat sweats. And sweats do not want to deal with other sweats all the time. It's one of the reasons why the trials cards actually work pretty well. Like if your game slowly get more intense as you get along further in that card on an undefeated card, meaning you're trying to go flawless, you should expect that sort of increase. Because eventually, by the time you get to that last 7th match, you are going against other undefeated sweats and cheaters. So you expect that. But the road to that should have enticement for low skill level players to want to go for that, to at least want to try. But when no low-skill players want to try because it feels too hard, it feels like it's an insurmountable task to even make it part way, how in the fuck you think a game based around PvP is going to work? And wait for it. Then, once you lose that low-skill tier pool of players feeding into the system, wait times get longer. The cheaters still around. The bots still around. The sweats are hoping and praying they get real players. And they hope, wait for it. You can go and even look at at Destiny streamers and PvPers when they talk about how once they got to a certain level, they just kept going against the same players. Because the pool of players feeding into that system was not big enough to keep them from running into one another all the time. To be fair, you see that in high-level competition regardless. In the 90s, if you wanted to get an NBA championship, you was going to have to go through Michael Jordan. Period. And no one did that. When Kobe was playing, when people like Shaq was playing, when all these high-tier, top-tier, legendary players were playing, you knew victory went through them. At some point, you had to face down those monsters, those big boys, them sharks. You had to go up against at least one or two of them. But when you have nothing to train on, nothing to feed into that system to allow an easier path for everybody to get to those higher tiers of competition and play, they was going to drop off. And that is what we are seeing now. We're not even going to talk about the fact that what the fuck is the story of Marathon? And I know some of y'all are going to say, oh, the lore, blah, 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 blah. It needs a campaign. It needs a PvE mode. It needs something to entice something. It needs a non-competitive PvP style of play to allow for people to get some loot so they can try the other shit. But they don't seem to want to do that. So now here we are. Karma's a bitch. And also, if you don't learn from your history, you are doomed to fucking repeat it. And that is what's happening right now. And I'm going to give Bungie some fucking credit. Bungie, when their back has been pushed up against the wall previously in Destiny 1, it was with the release of the House of Wolves and Into the Taken King. And in Destiny 2, it was when they released Forsaken. That was when their back was pinned up against the wall the hardest, and they was prepared to get their shit pushed in, and they somehow saved it. I don't think they can do it a third time. I'm going to be honest with you. Because if you haven't learned from the first time, had to do it again in Destiny 2, what the fuck makes you think you're going to be able to do it in this game when it doesn't seem like this game was actually fully baked? And I say it doesn't feel like it was fully baked because if it was fully fucking baked, you would have tried to address those two main PvP concerns from Destiny 2 and Marathon before it came out. And they did not. So my hat's off to y'all for supporting Marathon because I do want it to be a success, but I don't think it's going to be. I think this is going to be one of the harshest lessons Bungie will ever have to fucking learn. Matter of fact, many people are going to take this as a lesson, a very harsh lesson to be learned. That if you do not listen to your audience, you will fucking fail. I don't know. I'm just a regular dude, just a normal player, just chilling out here. But what do y'all think? Hit my comments and all that jazz and let me know. All right? Peace.